in this video we'll be giving you a couple tips on how to build this bunk bed. But before we get started, just a couple reminders. First, make sure you have a Phillips head screwdriver, a hammer, and a tape measure ready to go. Second, another person can be helpful in putting this together, but it's not necessary. And third, just make sure all the pieces are facing the right way as you're putting them together and you'll do great. So with that in mind, let's get started.
Remember, in these tips we won't cover every step, so just make sure you also follow the instructions and do all the steps in between.
On steps 2 and 3, you just want to make sure that you have all of the pieces on the correct sides. So make sure you have piece 1, and then piece 2, and piece 3 on the right sides of the pieces. And when you're putting these together, you just want to be sure that you have the 3 hole sides facing inwards on both pieces. And also that on piece 14, you have this warning sticker facing in as well. Once you've confirmed you have everything facing the right way, you're good to move on to the next step. Starting in step 4 and then all the following steps where you're putting the bed frame together, we just have a couple tips for you. First, it can be nice to have a friend to help you out, but if you're doing this by yourself, just make sure to go slow and put your safety first. And then second, when you're putting all the pieces together, just make sure to line up the dowels first, make sure everything lines up correctly. And then you want to put the nuts into the piece first, with the little cross side facing out. And then you can go ahead and put the bolts in and just make sure that you don't tighten them all the way. This will be important for putting the next pieces together. Okay, and once you've put those bolts in loosely, you can go ahead and put the other pieces together. On step 8, once you have both pieces attached, you can go ahead and tighten all the bolts on both of these, and you can tighten the bolts on the rest of the pieces of the frame as well. So once you have everything secure, you're good to go ahead and move on to the next step. On step 11, when you're attaching piece 11 to the frame of the bed, you're just going to want to line up these dowels with the holes onto the side of the bed first. It's also worth noting that we didn't tighten these screws all the way yet, just so that we can move them around if we need to get them to go in. Okay, and once you have those dowels lined up, you can go ahead and put bolts D into the top of the piece. All right, and once you have all 3 bolts put in the front of the bed here, you can go ahead and put the E bolts into the side. Once you have everything aligned and tightened, you can go ahead and tighten the bolts on the back of piece 11 if you haven't done that already. Once you're sure everything is secure, you're good to move on. We hope these tips were helpful for you in building your new bed. For more guides, tips, and tricks, go to walkeredison.com.